This is Sports Charlotte, the podcast about sports in Charlotte. My name is Herb White. I'm editor-in-chief of the Charlotte Post. And as per usual, this is Cameron Williams, who is a staff reporter at the Post. It's Thursday, July 10, 2025. It's the middle of summer.
We know it.
Yeah, it's toasty all around. There's a wave of wet humidity going on around here.
It's a swamp.
Yes, it is, with all kinds of stuff going on, including NBA Summer League play. And the Charlotte Hornets are one day away from tipping off their part of the summer. And is there any energy growing for this in a summer where everybody's talking about Cooper Flag?
Oh, well, every team's going to be, well, I guess every fan base could be excited for their team. I mean, look, Cooper Flag's going to be the story. They're making this kid out to, I mean, they've only really done this with maybe one other player, and that's Victor Wembanyama. They're making this guy out to be like the next LeBron. I mean, now, he's got all the tools, and Cooper's Cooper, but as a Hornets reporter, there's a little, no pun intended, buzz around the team. I mean, it's natural to be excited in the summer when you're constantly in that top 5 to top 10, area as far as where you're picking the draft. It's easy to get excited because you got young players that are looking to make an impact right away. And I think you're going to find that. You're going to have all the rookies that are going to be playing in the summer league. So you're going to see everyone that was drafted. A lot of returnees to the summer league. So it'll be unique. It'll be interesting, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to covering it. They play all the top 5 teams, top 5, because the Hornets were 4th, and they play the Mavericks, they play the Jazz, and they play the Spurs. So what more can you? Oh, and the Sixers. So what more can you ask for?
Well, by the time they get to the Mavericks, Coop may have literally flown the coop because that's like 2-3 games in.
Yeah.
And I would imagine the Mavericks are not going to expose this guy to the remotest possibility of injury. And so if he has a really good first game, I would think they would just pack his bags and put him in bubble wrap until it's time for training camp.
Well, so you would think that, but then again, I mentioned this a few weeks ago. Paolo Banchero was the number 1 overall pick, and he played well into the summer league too. So it's like, where do you draw the line as a GM or as a coach of what they call risk management or load management? You don't want to risk an injury to one of your best players, and obviously your number 1 pick. But you want to play him enough to kind of get him conditioned. I mean, I know you're not conditioning him against other NBA level competition because a lot of these summer league rosters
are dudes you'll never hear from again
until next summer,
or
in the G League or something like that. So yeah, there's that. But from a Hornets perspective, look, I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad we're able to access all the games. I think they're not going to show any on NBA TV or whatever. There'll be some on that, but YouTube TV has NBA TV now, so yes. But at any rate, it'll be fun. Tomorrow night, July the 11th, 7 p.m., Utah Jazz. That's intriguing to me just because will Ace Bailey show up and show out and go for like 30 and be like, haha, should have taken me? Or will Concanibble show up and be like, knock down 4 or 5 threes, be like, see, this is why you took me. So there's little things like that, little trivial things that are entertaining too. So,
but the other side of that is it's summer league. It's a bunch of rookies and guys who are trying to get into the NBA by hook or crook. And yeah, they may play with a certain amount of intensity, but it won't replicate an NBA game. So you can't really draw a whole lot of conclusions from any of this stuff. All you can hope to do is make sure that the kids that you are really invested in don't get hurt or really stink it up, because then the concerns and the accusations will start flying. you shouldn't have taken this guy. What were you thinking? Those types of things. And with the Hornets, because they have 4 draft picks in there, they have an opportunity to see who can actually separate themselves, if anyone, through the summer league, and understanding that it's not going to necessarily be a harbinger of things to come, but you can start to figure out, well, who is showing some readiness. You're never going to be totally ready as a rookie playing against other rookies, but who seems to be able to have something going on where they can say, well, maybe taking that leap won't be such a big deal to this individual or these individuals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, overall, I think it'll be a good gauge of kind of like you mentioned, where these rookies are in terms of their ability to contribute right away, or if they need to spend a season or half a season with the Swarm up in the G-Borough.
Yeah. Well, and is there a player who really needs to have a strong summer league to justify being drafted at all? Or in the case of my man King Con Knipple, will he justify that number 4 overall pick?
I think he will. I think the guy you're looking at this summer that needs to have a little bit justification, at least from a fan's perspective, is Sion James. And if he goes out there and he doesn't perform like at all, and they're wondering like, why did you even draft this guy? This guy ain't even G League material. Then at least fans kind of scratching their heads like, well, we just wasted a pick. If he goes out there and he has production, I'm not talking massive production. I'm talking 6-7 points a game, few assists here and there, plays solid defense, which the Hornets, when they drafted him, they knew that was kind of his forte. Then they're like, okay, we can see drafting him. Now let's send him to what was the D League. Now it's the G League. The development league. Kind of put him in a situation where he can thrive a little bit more, develop some offensive ability, things like that, and then can move up back on the Hornets roster eventually. That's what I think you're looking for. Now, if he goes out there and just falls on his face, it's going to be a problem.
Well, the other side of that is second-round draft picks typically, and I use the word typically, aren't going to be leaned on in terms of, can you actually improve our team? You're a second rounder for a reason.
Like you said, typically. KJ Simpson, when there was a lot of injuries for the Hornets last year, KJ Simpson had to perform really well to even get a couple wins here and there. Very few and far between, but even stay in games, he was having to put on pretty solid performances for a second round pick. So I'll say the Hornets are an outlier in that instance, because sometimes they lean on the second rounders a little too heavily.
Well, but the other side of that is the Hornets were so bad last year, and they had so many injuries until it was basically an open door for auditions. And those rookies, those young people who were drafted last year, they had plenty of opportunity to get their feet wet in terms of the NBA, not only the NBA game, but its physicality, its lifestyle. Those types of things are invaluable when you talk about being able to get indoctrinated early and often when it comes to something like this. And I don't think anybody would make the mistake of saying that those draft picks from last year were NBA ready, but they got an opportunity because of all the things that were going on with that roster to make those contributions, no matter how small or tangential they were.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm still, much like the Tedro McMillan pick for the Panthers, I'm still kind of questioning the Tijon Salon pick.
But did you see video of him earlier this week where he talked about being able to make that switch to the second season, and he looked like he would actually put on a little bit of weight.
Yeah, and he understands English a little better.
Speaks it a mile better.
Right.
I was impressed by that. I mean, physically, he looks like a different person, and it just looks like he's matured to the point of, the lights don't impress him as much now. But that's part of growing up. Last year, the English was not necessarily the best. Of course, you can say that about Americans too, but
Yeah.
that's beside the point. And basketball wise, he looks like he is ready to make some contributions.
Well, that'll be good just to see, because obviously everyone's talking about Khan. They're talking about Liam and Ryan Kalkbrenner, blah blah blah. But how are these second year guys going to fare? KJ Simpson's on the roster, T-John's on the roster. How are they going to contribute? I expect to see T-John starting. I expect to see some form of lineup or some sort of lineup where you have Khan in there with Liam and T-John and maybe Ryan. But then who's going to run your point guard? We'll leave that up for the coach.
Well, but the truth of the matter is we're now in an era of positionless basketball. And
true.
So who's to say King Khan Kniffle might be running some point before
well,
you know it? I mean,
Sion James ran point at Duke.
Well,
there were times when he would run point at Duke. So who knows?
So this is a good opportunity for all of them. And like I said, it's not like it's going to be NBA regular season or postseason, heaven forbid, intense. You're not going to get that. But this is an opportunity where it's more than a glorified pickup game. You want to see how people play together. Is it a matter of you've got people who will play as a team, or do you have dudes who are just willing to try to get as much shine for themselves playing as an individual? And I would imagine that the Hornets are going to be keenly interested in who plays as a team.
Very much so. Well, as pun incredibly intended, we pivot to talk about another form of ball that won't happen quite just yet. But the ACC and AAC media days, weeks are coming up.
They're coming here.
They're coming here and they're coming up. 2 weeks time, roughly. We'll see. It's Thursday. Yeah, in 2 weeks time, that's when Duke, UNC, and all those. It'll be packed. Okay. Football's right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited?
I'm always excited for football. I mean, the season never ends, and I am so glad because it is just. It's not necessarily even the dramatic moments. It's just the grind of football. There's the recruiting, there's coaching changes, and now with the transfer portal,
oh Lord,
who's transferring? NIL, even though that's still a hot mess, who's getting paid and by whom and what? And it's the professionalization, dare I say, of the collegiate game. And it is a brand new territory for some folks who are not accustomed to that with college football. But if you've covered the NFL, that's business as usual, except for the transfer portal. It's like, okay, this is free agency really beefed up.
I just think it's crazy looking at all these attendees that are going to be there for ACC media days. A couple familiar faces just from the Charlotte area. Frank Reich. Head coach at Stanford.
Yeah.
Then on down the list, obviously the Bill Belichick era at Carolina is still hanging on by a thread, I would say.
Is he bringing friends?
I gotta pull this up while we're talking about this, because I saw a tweet that was pretty wild. Let's see. Some numerous emails from university donors have basically expressed their displeasure in the Bill Belichick hiring, saying it's, quote, disgrace to the university. Some of the emails have even said they're pulling all their donations, they're pulling all their funds that they donate to, whether it be NIL or just a general athletic fund. And I'm like, for so long last year when all this was going down and the rumors started, kind of chirping about, so many people wanted this guy. They're like, that would be such a great hire, such a great get. Get rid of Mac Brown and all this stuff. Let's get a Super Bowl winning coach in here. Now that they realize Coach came with some baggage, some 24-year-old baggage.
Good looking baggage, but okay.
Here we go with that. I ain't getting all that.
Uh-huh.
But my point is, she runs a tight ship, so to speak, and the fan base is seeing right through it, and they don't like it. Does he survive a year? I know Pablo Torres. Torre. Okay, he's like, I see it being a one and done type deal.
I look at it like this: when North Carolina was courting Bill Belichick, where was the outrage then? When you're talking about a 73-year-old coach who is without a doubt one of the greatest coaches in NFL history. He's 73 years old. The NFL teams didn't want to hire him. Shouldn't that have sent a red flag right off the top?
Well, it should have, but the red flags didn't start coming in until they realized Jordan schedules his day for him.
That only put the cherry on top. The flags were being sent by NFL squads. And so I guess I can understand why the North Carolina folks were thinking, oh, this dude has won 6 Super Bowls total, and why not? If his greatness can translate to our campus, we should go for it. But I've told you and anybody else who listens, we all come with a use by date. Bill Belichick's use by date has come and gone, and North Carolina did the deal anyway. So you get what you get when you do what you do.
But Carolina fans are the type that they'll get what they get, and they still throw a fit.
That's typical.
Is his use by date? Is it like to where the milk's just starting to stink, or is there curds up in there?
Well, you can open the container, and you know it's not for you. That is
so it's just a little stinky. He's not there. We're not making cheese in the jug quite yet.
If he were to be some sort of consultant to a program, something like that, where you can tap into that wisdom, okay. But you want him to be your CEO day to day, not only on game day, but the face of your program, and in some cases, the face of your university.
He's not even that for his own life right now.
Well, I mean, hey, some schools would have been a better fit for somebody like a Bill Belichick. North Carolina, or even dare I say, any of the better financed Power 4 schools, most of them probably wouldn't benefit from that. A lower resourced program, yes, especially if it needed some sort of discipline, those types of things. Bill Belichick would be an absolute fabulous hire. I would even say, if you wanted to look at it from the ACC perspective, Bill Belichick, I think, would have worked out great at Duke.
Oh, goodness gracious. And why?
Because, to be honest, it's not like Duke is going to go all out for football in terms of the way that it treats the game and things like that. It's a little bit more laid back in terms of the intensity for Duke football. And I think that somebody like Bill Belichick could have come in, you're going to win with defense, you're going to do things a certain way.
There'll be higher expectations for Duke football this year than Carolina football.
I'm talking about how, to me, Belichick would be a better fit at a place like Duke as opposed to a place like North Carolina. Or even if you move down to a lower level, like FCS, that kind of thing. But I'm just saying that if you're going to have these super high expectations of a coach turning your program around, a place like North Carolina is not a good fit for a Belichick. You would, if you're Alabama, would you hire it? I would think not.
But Carolina's still a basketball school. No matter how much they want to try to put their eggs into football,
I understand
they still stink.
And that is why this is such a poor fit. I'm just saying. To me, that's what makes him a poor fit. But a place like Duke, where you You know what you are athletically. Duke is going to be a basketball school. You have to climb a really tall tree for football to eclipse basketball on that campus.
It's not going to eclipse it at Carolina either. So I'm missing your point because
But
Duke won 8 games last year.
I understand that. But I'm just saying, though, is North Carolina, I guess because of the branding or because of the alumni base or whatever, they want to see themselves as good at everything.
They're wine and cheese.
They want to be good at everything.
Wine and cheese. Anyway,
so
but
that's
before
why
I
they
dig
wouldn't
myself a grave,
Well, hand me the shovel once you've dug it.
I know
I'll fill it in.
you'll pat the dirt dry. you'll pat it down nice and firm. I believe me, I know. But back to what I was saying about familiar faces.
Yeah.
Jordan Shipp, receiver from Providence Day, right here down the road in Charlotte, off Sardis Road. Second or third year, I believe it's the second year at North Carolina. One of the handful that stuck around for the Bill Belichick era. So, lots of familiar faces, but I did want to get your thoughts on who do you think is going to win the ACC this year? After what? Good gracious, it was an absolute dandy of a game between SMU and Clemson at Bank of America last year. Which the local face, he won't necessarily be coming with Clemson to the media day, but Nolan Hauser from Huff, kicker, knocked in a long field goal. I know it was the funniest thing too. Some, I guess, just generic media that really didn't know where he was from, this, that, and the other. Like, a freshman kicking a 50-plus yarder to win it. I think it was 48, 49, but kicking a 50-yarder to win this thing, I don't think he's going to make it. I'm like, this kid's got ice in his veins. He's going to make it.
Yeah, and he did.
Right down the pipe. I'm like, sometimes you just know. That kid was special at Huff, and he's proven to be special for Clemson. I just think it's going to be a fun year for the ACC. Not just because of the Bill Belichick stuff, but there's a lot of teams that can make a run at it this year.
Like who?
I
mean, I have my...
I think Clemson's going to be your favorite.
Well, yeah, that's the sexy and safe pick.
But, I mean, SMU could be right back in the mix.
Yeah.
I think Duke's a few years away, but they've got the quarterback to do it this year. And
a really good coach.
Really good coach, and they returned a lot. They lost Star Thomas, their running back. I think he went to Texas. I don't know. He went to a bigger school with, I'm sure, much more NIL money that could be allotted to him. But Darian Mintz is a stud. Came from Tulane. I know a lot of Charlotte fans, 49er fans. Well, they know who Darian Mintz is. Won the AAC last year, so he's a good player. I think he's going to prove to a lot of Duke naysayers that he is better than Malik Murphy, who they had last year. I know, at least looking at some Duke message boards and stuff, they're not super confident he can be like that guy. Believe me, he can be that guy.
Are they holding it against him because he played at a Group of 5 program?
Probably. I mean, nothing that I've read just out and out says that, but there's always going to be a little hesitancy. Oh, man, this guy's coming up a level. Is he going to be shell-shocked when he gets... That guy's going to be 270 a game, 3 tutties a game type. He's that good.
I don't doubt that.
So, yeah, I mean, look, the safe pick, obviously, is Clemson, but how good can Louisville